All right, you guys, happy May 22nd, 2023. This is a good day because my favorite number is number 22. So, it's 522. Who can get a better day than that unless it was 222? So anyway, it's good to see everybody. I just want to remind you that it just fits. If you like this t-shirt, you can get it on MK Connections. I thought it was so cute. I decided to wear it tonight with a little bit of cheetah print. So anyway, that's why I don't have my director suit on. So I got two awesome things to share with you tonight that are not my original. That's what's so great about listening to other people's calls. You're like, that's good. That is so good. So first of all, the directors may have heard this, but this morning, one of my favorite nationals, Miss Jan Thetford, Inner Circle National, she shared a Voxer message and some scripture. And I listened to it once, and then I literally went back and listened to it a second time. And it's only 6 minutes long, but it was so good. And I thought this is a great message for tonight. So I'm going to share that. And then I'm going to share some information about a side hustle and what people think about it right now in America. And those stats were shared with me by NSD Janice Trude. And so these are not my original ideas, but I do have some comments on them. And I'm excited to share that with you. The second thing I want to tell you is that next week, we will have the Boss Babe Call on Tuesday night, May the 30th. And it will be at the same time, May the 30th. And I am going to attempt is the key word, to keep the Boss Babe calls to about 30 minutes. Just so maybe you have a little time when we're done to make some phone calls, okay, and build your Mary Kay business. Okay, now, sometimes it may be a little longer, but that's going to be the new goal. And so for my unit members, we will have our meeting at 7:30, 30 minutes prior to the Boss Babe call. So that's a little change too. So just want to throw that out there. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to share the sound. But before I do, I've got to do one little thing right here. Here we go. Okay. So this is a little 6-minute call, you guys. And what I want you to do is, this is part one of part two on the topic of what really occupies your mind every day. All right. And what we think about really matters. And it's from Jen Thetford. So I am actually going to get a piece of paper out and make a few notes. And I would suggest you do the same. I've listened to it twice while I was putting my makeup on. So I was not taking notes at the time, but I have a blank piece of paper and I plan on doing that right now. So we're just going to listen to it one time, but I think you will really get something out of it. Okay. So here we go. One moment, Pete, please. Looks like I have a little error. Okay, let me stop the share and do it. See if I can do this another way. All right, maybe I can do it this way. We shall see. You guys let me know. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear it once I play it. Excuse me.
Well, good Monday morning, Mary Kay World, to all my consultant, director, and national sales director friends. On this Monday, May the 22nd, I have some thoughts for you. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. We got about 11 days left in the month of May, and right smack dab in the middle of that, we've got a holiday. And many of you have big Mary Kay goals that you're working on. I bet a bunch of you have end of school activities with your little ones this week. Some of you probably have graduating seniors from high school or college, and then, just all the stuff, right? Full-time jobs and work and kids and ball games. And guys, I get it. Today, though, I want to share with you a thought from something that I can share with 100% integrity. And, not always do I share with 100% integrity because I struggle too. But here is something that I have had to absolutely get good at. Many of you are familiar with Philippians 4:8. And now, dear brethren and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Okay. Oh, that's easy. You mean there's nothing in there said about worry, be stressed, be challenged, be rude. I mean, it's all fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure, lovely and admirable. Charles Swindoll, y'all, says that the secret of living a life of excellence is merely a matter of thinking thoughts of excellence. Okay, let's think about that for a minute. The secret of living a life of excellence is merely a matter of thinking thoughts of excellence. Really, Charles Swindoll says, it's a matter of programming our minds with the kind of information that will set us free. That is a powerful statement. Programming our minds with the kind of information that will set us free. Now, Mary Kay would always say, what you think about, you bring about. She would absolutely say that. And, through the years, we've said, think about what you're thinking about. And when you think positive, great things will happen. When you think you can, you can. When you think you can't, you're right. And, all of these things that we've said. But truthfully, guys, your thoughts are so important. So will you take a deep breath with me right this minute on this Monday morning and just think this thought? I want to ask you a question. What occupies your mind? What's the first thing you think about in the morning and the last thing you think about at night? God's word says, for as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. We got to practice the habit of focusing on things that are honest, just, pure, lovely, worthy of praise. And we can nourish this godly mind by meditating on biblical truth. All right? We also look at making commitments to the Lord and saying, as in Psalm 119:15, I will study your commandments and reflect on your ways. And as we read the scriptures, y'all, we've got to make a list of God's promises that can help us think positive thoughts, pure, lovely, admirable, because many of us are right smack dab in the circumstances and situations right now that positive thoughts are not the first thing that come into our head. We got to intentionally fill our minds with thoughts that are excellent. When we establish, y'all, the daily exercise of transformed thinking, the people around us are going to take notice. And they're going to say, something's happening in her life because she is very positive and very confident. Y'all, here is the most amazing, powerful few words that I've read about this topic in a long time. It takes discipline along with a heart that's intent on purity to change your world. Takes discipline along with a heart that's intent on purity. 1 Timothy 4:15 says, meditate on these things. Give yourself entirely to them, that your progress may be evident to all. Your progress may be evident to all. Y'all, our thinking doesn't happen to just become positive without God's help and without an intentional decision. We have to ask God every day, give me the courage, Lord. Give me the willpower. Give me the resolution to follow through with pure thoughts. All right, so on this Monday morning, Philippians 4:8. My friends, what are you thinking about? How behind you are? How fat you are? How broke you are? How crazy everybody around you is? How distraught you are? How disappointed you are? Or could we shift and say, this is the day the Lord hath made. And I'm going to take some of these disappointments and I'm going to intentionally figure out a way how to get past it. With this message, y'all, I have listed the verses of which I've read through today with a couple of things. And then tomorrow, I'm going to make a part 2, because what I want this not just to be a theory thought process for you. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Oh, yeah, I know that. But how do you take this process that I just laid out to you today and think about your finances, and think about your missed goals, and think about your troubled marriage or your challenging children? We're going to talk about that, because I believe with all my heart and soul that God's word is active and alive for all of us, not just when things are good or when we're at church, but every single stinking day. Hope you'll join me tomorrow as we break this down.
Okay, y'all. So that was 3 times I've listened to it. And do you see why? Because like today, we're thinking, we have 5 weeks left for the seminar year, and maybe in a day, 2 days. Okay. And so I thought, what did I think about last night right before I went to bed? What did I think up right when I got up this morning? And you know what it was? That I was behind. That's what I'm just telling y'all the truth. I thought, I'm behind. I'm behind on where I need to be. I can't believe I'm so behind. This really aggravates me that I'm behind. And then I got up and I saw Jan's message, and I thought, I'm going to listen to that. And then I thought, you needed that. So then I listened to it again. And then I had a prayer call on Monday mornings, and the girl that was supposed to do the devotional, she couldn't do it. So she said, here's what I was going to do. You want to just read it? And it was on God's timing. And then tonight we had our unit meeting call, and we're doing this 100 days of believing bigger. And I didn't read ahead of time. And it was day 2, and it was called Perfect Timing. And all the devotions were trust the Lord. Trust the Lord in the timing that he has for you. Put your thoughts and trust in him. He's got you. He's not surprised by anything. And of course, when Jan's message about thinking positive, what are you thinking? I thought, that's right. That's right. Because I can remember other times, like for the Mary Kay Top Director trip, and there was zero doubt. And I thought, well, I know I'm doing it. I don't know how, but it's done. It's done. Okay. And I thought, that's right. That's right. And, and guess what? It got done. And at the end, you wouldn't have known how it was going to come through, but it did, because that was it was a non-negotiable. It's getting done. And so I want you to think about your non-negotiable, what's getting done, and you really don't know how. You have no idea how, but you're willing to put the work in, and you're willing to start thinking positive instead of negative about your business. And, I've heard other people talk about their business and how they can't get bookings, nobody's doing anything. And it's just like, it's really, instead of what we call speaking life into your business, about talking about what you do want, you're speaking death into your business and talking about what you're not getting. And then everybody around you hears that, and they're like, oh, she's kind of getting out of Mary Kay. She's going out, instead of, let's speak life into our business. And sometimes you have to speak it before it gets there, So I was sharing on our unit meeting tonight, my husband and I bought this house that we're in, and 9 months before we bought this house, we would ride by it, at least once or twice a week, because my mom lives right here. And so we'd ride by the house, and Brad would look out and go, hey, Brad and Cleta. And then we come back and go, bye, Brad and Cleta. And he would say that every single time we'd ride by this house. And I said, you just called it into being. That's what you did. And now there's a house beside us, and that we want his parents to move there. And it's empty. And we're like, so we go, hey, Brian and Lynn. We say their names as we go by. I said, Brian and Lynn got a tree down in their yard. They need to get it up. And his mom and dad came tonight. We showed it to them. We're like, hey, we're speaking it in. Go over there and get yourself in the driveway over there, And so what are you thinking about? What are you speaking into existence? Is it good? Or is it like, if everything you thought today about your business came true, would you be like out of Mary Kay? Or would you be like on top of the world? So it's something to really think about. I put the scriptures in the chat in the Zoom meeting so you guys can look at them. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can just go back and listen. Okay, because it's right there. All right, so that's the first part of today's sermonette. So the second part was a meeting. I was invited one of my girlfriends watched this director's meeting with NSD Janice Trude, and it was so good. I had to listen to it more than once. Sometimes sometimes you listen to stuff like while you're driving or you're doing something else, and you may be listening to this that time, and then you're like, that's good. I'll probably like do it where I can actually pay attention. So I was able to take notes on some of it. So I went and grabbed some of the slides that she shared, and I want to show them to you. And it was about side hustles, which would be a side gig, a part-time, whatever, a direct selling, an additional way to make money. Okay, besides your job that you already have, a side hustle. Some people like to say additional streams of income. So however you want to say it, we're going to call it a side hustle. So I want to share with you. Let me just get it up here. I want to share with you some of the slides that she shared that I thought were really, really good. Okay. And we will just kind of look at them together and go through it. And what I want you to do, what it did to me is convince me there are a lot of people out here looking for something like Mary Kay. Like they're there. All we have to do is tell them about the business. Okay. They're very open to it. Okay. So I'm going to share the screen with you. And like I say, these are not my slides, they're hers. And so I take no credit in these slides, but I take credit in being smart enough to share this with you guys. So the first thing, these are some stats. Okay. So you can screenshot it if you like, or you can just write them down, or you can just listen. So number one was how many people have a side hustle right now? And it said 45% of working Americans report having a side hustle. That roughly amounts to 70 million people. So the United States overall population, 45% of those, 50% of the millennials have it, and 46% of the Gen Z have a side hustle. They're doing something on the side to make extra money. Now, here in our county, Lowndes County, Georgia, everybody is in a tizzy because we all just got our tax bill. And across the board, they went up on our property taxes 25%. One of our consultants said hers was $800 last year, and it is $1,300 and something this year. I mean, that is a major jump. People have side hustles. Why? Because they need extra money. Okay. And it said, how many people are looking for extra income? It said 24% of Americans plan to start a side hustle this year. Whether they are seeking extra cash at a necessity or hoping to save a little extra each year, 61.6 million Americans plan to find a second source of income soon. This was on March the 7th, 2023. So y'all, if there's 10 people in the grocery store, okay, 10 people in the grocery store, that means 25% of them would be, 2.5 of them, 2.5 of them are actually looking for something right now. All right. So just go in there and see which one it is, right? I mean, that is a high statistics of people looking for something to make extra money. They're like, how am I going to do it? I don't know, but I'm going to figure out something. Okay. All right. It said, why are so many people side hustling? It says, according to Bankrate, 41% of side hustlers need the extra money to make ends meet. Another 43% plan to use the money primarily for savings or additional disposable income. So there's some people who don't need the extra money to pay their bills, but they need extra money for savings. Okay. So if you look at the green little line, I know it's kind of small, it says need income for living expenses. You can see the green line, and then 2019 was the top, and 2022 is the blue line. So do you see how it changed? Many more people need more money for living expenses. And then in 2019, it said disposable income for spending. So in 2019, that was higher. Just disposable income for spending. I mean, like now it's just to pay your bills is what that's saying. And then boosting your savings account. and then paying down debt. That wasn't at all in there in 2019, but in 2022, it says there's 15% of them are to pay debt down. But the highest one was to make the extra money just to make ends meet and pay their bills. Okay. It said in 2022, 29% said inflation was a factor in starting their side hustle. Well, we all know about that, right? The hustle, which is where some of these stats come, found that while only half of respondents loved their primary job, only half, 76% loved their side hustle. They tolerate their regular job because they have an income, they can't quit, and they need to do it, and they got to bring home that money. But 76% of them love the side hustle. Isn't that awesome? That's probably many of you, right? It says, when I asked Side Hustle Nation what their primary motivation was for starting a side hustle, I found personal freedom was at the top of the list. Personal freedom. Okay, it says, what do side hustlers want? I polled over 5,500 Side Hustle Nation visitors. Side Hustle Nation is a thing, all right, and found that only 20% were looking to build a side hustle to quit their job. They really weren't trying to make enough money to quit their job. Now, I will tell you, when I started Mary Kay 30-something years ago, that is kind of what I thought, right? But now that's not necessarily it. The 80%, only 20% were looking to do that. 80% were just looking to make extra money, okay? So if you look at the chart, the orange says make extra money, and the gray says quit my day job. I thought that was very interesting. Because, some people, when we talk to them about selling Mary Kay, then they go, oh, I can't quit my whatever career. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to. Okay. All right. And then this says my primary motivation to start or seek information about my business or side hustle was, and then these are all the different things. Okay. So if you could, I know you can't see all the things, but the little blue piece of pie is personal freedom. 38.7%. The number one reason they started a side hustle was personal freedom. The second one was 27.4% extra income to save, to spend, or to invest. And then the third was 11% extra money to make their ends meet, 6% to pay off their debt faster, 5% as just a creative outlet, 4% said it felt like a calling. So the number one was more personal freedom. And I will tell you this, since as long as I can remember, when I did my skincare parties, all through my Mary Kay thing, I would say at the end, like when I would do marketing at my skincare class, I would say there's a lot of reasons why women decide to do Mary Kay. Some are for flexibility and freedom. Some are to make extra money. Some are to do this, some are to do that. And I would say all the things. And I would say, let me just ask y'all, let's just go around. And I would say, like, Connie, if it were you and you said, hey, I'm not saying you're going to, but let's say you're like, yeah, if I were going to do something extra like Mary Kay, it would be for, I said, which one of those things would it be for you? Y'all, I'm not kidding, this stat. It was more like 90% said freedom. 90, I mean, like some of them had freedom at their job that didn't say it. They said, I would do it for the fun, or I would just do it to save some money. But 90, I mean, it was like freedom and flexibility that people, they want that. I like some freedom too, don't y'all? Okay. Number 4 was, how much do people make from their side hustles? It said the average side hustle brings in $1,122 a month. The median income is much lower, just $200 a month. That means that many side hustlers are at the lower end of the earning spectrum, and the data from Side Hustle Nation subscribers seemed to support that as well. In our recent, this isn't Mary Kay, this is all side hustles, okay? So it says in our recent study, half of all respondents reported making less than $100 per month. In a typical month, my side hustle or business earns, and it had 1,722 people actually responded on this survey they did, okay? And it said in the blue, which was 52%, was up to $100 in a month, okay? And this is just in a month. And then you can see all the different percentages. 100 to 500 was 17%. 9% made 500 to 1,000. 15% made 1,000 to 5,000. And then it didn't show, it's like a, looks like about 5%, 5,000 to 10,000, about the same 10,000 or more. But it says still, you got to start somewhere. Once your side hustle or business has a little more traction, the numbers are more encouraging. Of the respondents making over, that's what they said, of the respondents making over $100 a month. Okay. So I thought that was very interesting because even though it says in the recent survey, half of all respondents reported making less than $100 a month. Guess what? They're all still doing it. Do y'all think y'all can make $100 a month in Mary Kay? Hey, a lot of people don't make 50%. Do they? They don't. They're making that, and that's at 20% or 30%, right? So we make, to 50% of what we sell. So we would only have to sell $200 in a month to make $100. Y'all, how long does it take to sell? I mean, like, that's one facial or one party, right? I mean, and then once you're in, it's really like 2 reorders. So I just wanted to put it in perspective to you. Okay. It says, what salary makes Gen Z happy? Okay. What salary makes the Gen Z happy? This was interesting to me. Like if you said, what would be the amount of money that you would feel great about, makes you happy? The average salary that young adults said would make them feel as if they had made it, they finally made it, was $121,553 per year, with Gen Z aiming slightly higher and pining for $124,494. And the millennials earmarking was $120,000. This was May 3rd. 2023. That's when they feel like they have made it. Okay. Okay. So what Janice Trude went on to say is they want to make that money. However, the time and effort they're willing to spend on something does not match up with their expectations of what they want to make. Like, they don't really want to work that many hours to make that much money, right? So they've got a big old gap there. And so her whole point of this is that Mary Kay, what do we have to offer as far as recruiting? One of the biggest things we have to offer is freedom and flexibility, right? That they are looking for something that is, that does not have set hours, does not have a monthly quota that you have to sell a certain amount, so you have the freedom and flexibility to do Mary Kay as you want. And as all of you know that have ever been sick, where you could not work for a short or a long amount of time, you did not get kicked out of Mary Kay, right? I mean, maybe you didn't make as much money that week, but then you could pick it right back up. I'm so thankful for that. There's been times I've been in the hospital for like a week and could not do anything and been out, had a major surgery, out for 6 weeks. Some of y'all have been that way. And yet we're still in Mary Kay because we have that freedom and flexibility. Sometimes you may have company or grandkids or your in-laws or your parents come or a vacation, people coming for a week, and you had to kind of put Mary Kay, on the back burner for a minute. And then when they leave, you can pick it right back up. And so I think that's one of the greatest things we have to offer about Mary Kay and just like this shirt, that's why I wore it today. It just fits. It can fit whose ever life and whatever they want to do, right? So we really got that going for us as far as what we have to offer. The second thing we have is that we have that 50% off. And a lot of people do not have that. And I think that's a big, big plus for us. And now it's just a matter, Janice said, are you willing to get out there and ask people? She said, so when you're in the grocery store, look around and go, okay, 25% of these people are looking for something to do. I wonder which one of them it is. I wonder how I can find out. So you know what she did? She is a national sales director. She went to In Touch, and she went to Heritage, and she looked at the national sales directors and the national sales director emeritus, and she found 2 or 3, I think she'd had about 5 different nationals that she picked out that had different stories. One of them used to be a school teacher. One of them worked 60 hours a week before Mary Kay. One of them had several children, and she printed them out, their story, and she put it in a Ziploc, like a little, not Ziploc bag, but a page protector cover type thing. Put that story in there, put a sample of the charcoal mask, her business card, and the It Just Fits something more, our little starter kit flyer. And she said, I'm a national sales director, and I decided to be prepared. And she was talking to Patricia Turker, who's the #1 national All-American right now. And she said to Janice, this was on the national trip, are you willing to work? She says, I still gold medal every month. It's Patricia Turker, the #1 national All-American. She goes, last week I set up a pop-up tent in the sun in Florida, and I stood out there. Are you willing to set up a pop-up tent? She goes, and I talked to, she goes, I can't remember how many people she said she talked to, but it was like 8 people so that she could recruit. And she goes, I already got 2 recruits this month. And she was telling this to another the #1 national All-American, telling another top national this, and so then that national is telling me, and all of us, and now I am telling you, and it's basically, are you willing to talk to people when the market is fresh and it's open and it's fertile, because people are looking for something. And so what I have found is, have you ever had somebody you thought, no, she would never do this, and then the next week or the next month, if you don't get an invitation that she is doing some kind of party for some other company and she signed up, and you're like, I would have never in a million years thought she would sell blankety blank, right? Or I would have asked her, she could have sold Mary Kay, but instead she's over there working behind her bank desk looking like a million, and she is looking for extra income. And Susie Q wasn't scared to ask her, so now she's a whatever representative, So I think the problem with us, with me, with you probably too, is that we really just have not asked enough people. We're overlooking people that we think, may not want it, but 1 out of 4 of everybody you see is looking for a side hustle. That's the stats, not from me, but from this Side Hustle Nation, 1 out of 4 people. So anytime you're with a group of 4, just look at them and go, make it a game and go, I wonder which one of these people is looking for a side hustle. How am I going to find out? Pick the best one, right? So I just wanted to share those facts. For me, it was an eye-opener that thought, you know what? You're just not asking enough. You're assuming that all those customers in your customer base do not want to do this. But what I might find out if I polled them, that 25% are looking for something extra to do, and then haven't even considered Mary Kay. Instead, they're looking at this company, this company, this company, and this company, right? And it's really who offered it to them first. So, I'm thankful that someone offered it to me. So I'm thinking then I should be, feeling the same way. So what did she print out? It was just the bio of the nationals. Let me just share my screen. I'll show you exactly where to get it. And you just read through them and pick some that speak to you. And she just kind of handed them out to people that, like, after she read the story, she would find out a little bit about them, and then she would customize and send it to them. And the other thing that she is sending out is the It Just Fits videos, and they're all on yourmarykay.com under Sell Mary Kay. You can look at them and you can read them and you can decide which one. So you go to In Touch, you guys. So go to In Touch, and then you're just going to go over here to Heritage at the top where it says Meet Your NSDs. Now this is what she did. Meet Your NSDs. And then over here, you can look at different things. You can look at all of them. You could go to occupation, and then you can click on here and say, I need to find a bank person who's a bank manager. Well, there's 2 of them. So let's say I go Jill Davis. That's the one I want because she used to be in banking. And so she just would print this piece of paper, her story. And then she would have, maybe in a folder that said bank, bank or whatever. So that's what she did. This one, she said her husband is a cop. She has 2 sons, and so it tells her little story. And so that's all she did, is she just went and she found 5 or 6 of them. Let's say you wanted a teacher, so you could go down here and you could just say, where is the school teacher? There it is. Okay, there's a few school teachers. In fact, Lene Tate was one of them that she did because she was a former school teacher. And then so she printed that out. So that's how you do it. You just go in there and look and find a few that motivate you and have them kind of ready to go. And she just printed them out, and she says she has them in her car. Patricia asked her what do you have that you can give out like at all times? Do you have anything ready in case you saw somebody that will be interested? Do you have something ready? And so Janice like, I do now. So the other thing is that Janice was that she talked about is to, and I'll just share my screen with you on this too. She said to go through right here and you go to marykay.com and you go over here to sell Mary Kay. Okay. And then under here, okay, there are right here, it just fits. It just fits. It says here, Mary Kay stories. You can click on that. And then on here are a bunch of stories. Okay, you can just click through them. You see all these? You can listen to them first and decide, you know, and then what she said is she said, I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 of them. And she said to share this like in your customer group and say, I'm going to be sharing something for 10 days in a row and I'm going to be giving away, and she suggested a $50 gift card with Mary Kay. She said, I'm going to give away a $50 gift card. All you have to do is watch this 2 to 3 minute video and comment below what impressed you the most. And then at the end, I will take all the comments and I will do a drawing. And so, you know, some of them may impress you more than others, or some of them may speak to you more than others. And she said every day she shares the video. And at the end of the week, she goes back, she looks at all the comments, and she picks one of them. And she said that's one of the ways she's doing it. Like this lady, her name is Marnie, and she is the mother of 7 children. Do you know anybody that has 5 and so they're too busy? This is a 7. And it tells all about how she did it. You see what I'm saying? And so you would just click on this.
My favorite 3 products are eye patches.
And how do you share it? You see this right here? This is the share. You click on it right here. You can just click Facebook, or you can just copy that right here, hit copy. Then I could just go to my customer group. Let's say mine is Cheetah. This is mine, as a matter of fact. And then I could just sit here and type paste. And then there's going to be the story right under here. Okay. And then I would say something and hit post. And that's how you do it. That's pretty easy, right? And just do it 10 days in a row and just say everybody who's comments, the more you comment, the more your name goes into the drawing. And so the only thing you want to do is you want to watch it as well. And maybe so you will have an idea of what motivates that person. It's just to get the word out. Just to get the word out. Okay. So that's what I got for you guys tonight is it is time to share our Mary Kay opportunity, and it's time to speak life into our business. Amen. Amen. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop the